What's up guys, it's Snamcowdy here, and welcome back to another video. So Pikmin is a game all about growing your numbers and establishing the bond between human and Pikmin. But where's the fun in that? We all know that Pikmin is a game about ruining an ecosystem by overloading it with invasive Pikmin that can crush and destroy the population of any other living thing on the planet. So, let's not do that. Today, we'll be doing the Pikmin 3 Deluxe Extinction Challenge. Now, if you haven't heard of the Extinction Challenge before, let me get you up to date. Basically, it's like this. At the end of every day, you have to get a Pikmin Extinction. That is, getting rid of all your Pikmin. Now, for Pikmin 3 and Pikmin 3 Deluxe, it's a little bit different. They actually removed the entire feature of Pikmin Extinction from the first two games. So instead of ending the day and sprouting a new Pikmin tomorrow, the onion just spits out a single sprout right away, and we're left to play the day as normal. So the solution is to mow the onion down. No, I'm just kidding. Instead, all you have to do is manually end the day and just lose all your Pikmin to sunset. Technically, it's not called a Pikmin Extinction, but it didn't really make sense in the first place. Like, how is it a Pikmin Extinction if the next day new ones are just born? I don't know, but that's basically the entire premise of this run. So, let's beat Pikmin 3 Deluxe, starting with 0 Pikmin every single day. Wait. Before we begin, I'd just like to mention that I stole this idea, with permission, might I add, from a YouTuber named Jinjovitus. Said that wrong. If you want to watch his stuff, go ahead, but a quick warning, it's not what I would call family-friendly content, so just beware. Also, I wanted to say that I'm starting a Discord server, link in the description. I'll talk about it more at the end of the video. Anyway though, let's get started. Not much is different about day 1 because we start off with multiple Pikmin, so I'll just skip right to Alf's crash site. Side note though, I'm just going to go ahead and say all of Charlie's original Pikmin died since we never see them again. Anyway, making it through Alf's crash site is easy as always, and as far as I know, there's no way to kill Pikmin on this day. You might think there is, but there's not. I hope. Otherwise, I'm going to get a lot of comments. So we sort of maybe failed the challenge right away? No, because I just immediately get an extinction on day 2. So, it evens out. This also means we're down 1 juice, and now might be a good time to mention that I made the rather poor decision to do this on ultra spicy mode, which I have beaten once in my entire life. Day 3 and we get a single sprout to start off the day. Using every resource we have, I get to about 13 Pikmin as I complete the bridge. The Bulborb on the other side looks like a promising gain, and we wind up losing 3 Pikmin to it, meaning we have exactly enough to carry it back. Moving forward, I grab the strawberry and it's into the rock Pikmin cave. I free the rocks, duplicate my numbers, and run out. I take it as a general strategy to get about 25 to 40 Pikmin each day, because getting any more just wastes time, but getting any less just waste more, so this is what we got. We free Brittany, grab the lemon, and grab the other strawberry, and this is about all we got time for today. So I abandon all my Pikmin to live out their happy lives on the planet's surface. Oh. Well, that's not good. Obviously, we end the day with 0 Pikmin, and we're still not looking good in the juice department. The problem is that in ultra spicy mode, you only get half juice yields from all the fruit. So a day that would normally leave us with a comfortable 3 juice, we get 1. I just realized is not half of 3, so I lied to you. Anyway though, day 4, and you might be wondering, how does the game deal with a double Pikmin extinction? Well, it just spits 2. I honestly don't know what you expected. So with 1 rock and 1 red, we start building our numbers up. Even though we don't have access to the Bulborbs, we cleared the way into the area with the blowhogs and wollywogs, meaning we're gonna be pretty set for today. Then, with a stable supply of 51 Pikmin, it's time for a real fight. Just so you know, this is going to be pretty much the only boss fight that's going to be normal here, since we have such low Pikmin numbers. It gets a heck of a lot more difficult than you might imagine. Just wait until the final boss. But this one's simple, it's quick, it's easy, it's the Armored Mod ad. Day 5, and turns out Alf is a worse pilot than all Lamar. That'll get you a few points on your license. We need to start bringing to light how bad all these pilots are. Like, is there no outer space police? Traffic control? Nothing? Brittany discovers yellow Pikmin, and would you look at that? How convenient. There's a bridge we need to build on both sides in order for the plot to happen. Although why Alf didn't just land on Brittany's side still confuses me. Anyway, we sprout a rock and a red, and there's not really much to say about this whole bridge building process. I try to avoid as much enemy contact as possible, and just work with what I've got. Once the bridge is done, I try to go as quickly as possible and push the bag down on the other side of the Phosbat arena, but I only make it as far as this first light, which means it's day 6 and we get to start with 3 Pikmin today. You know, instead of the 27 we got yesterday. So we've got 30 Pikmin to face the Behemoth Phosbat. Now, this fight is just difficult because of how low our damage yield is, and we can't multitask while building the bridge since we pretty much have exactly enough Pikmin for 1 stack of pieces at a time. The bridge gets built though, and that means we get to blind everyone with this cutscene that I feel like went a little bit too far to get the point across. Like, seriously, did we have to have the light be so bright right next to our eyes? Regardless, I still have enough vision left to take the Phosbat down. We managed to get the Heroine Steer back, and it's the end of the day. Day 7, we go to the Tropical Wilds, and here, why don't you watch some incredibly interesting and hype gameplay we got going on. Yeah, so, I mean, you wonder why people don't like the Pikmin games. Anyway, after sufficiently destroying a harmless squad of sheer grubs, it's time for the... You know what I just realized? I say "it's time for" a lot. Does that annoy anyone else? Oh, whoops. I missed the epically timed boss fight intro. Well, I guess we're fighting the sand-belching mirror slug. So, there's a little strategy where you can charge your Pikmin at the mouth right here. The problem is, it doesn't exactly work with the low numbers we've got, so... It does not go well. So day 8, and we're back to finish the Mirror Slug off. And that is pretty much all that happened. So, day 9, and it's time to go to the worst area in the game. Now, there's a surprising amount of resources that spawn here. You've got these dwarf bulborbs, not to mention the pellets, and of course, the flint beetle. Despite this, I wind up struggling, how should I say this? A sizable amount with trying to get 20 yellows and light up this random cave so I can finish the bridge to the winged Pikmin onion. But in the nick of time, I manage. What do? We immediately kill the winged Pikmin we just rescued. Day 10 and we get 4 sprouts today. Since we've got access to the entire area where the winged onion was, we've got more than enough pellets to build up our numbers. I get the transmission from Louie, but the Wi-Fi cuts out, so it's time to build another bridge. The peak of gameplay, my friends. Anyway, the bridge is super easy to build with winged Pikmin because the pair is... No, that... Wrong part of the script. Because the game is not very well balanced. And I'm also super evil hacker man and lift the pair next to the wall it's blocking. If you're wondering how that does anything, it doesn't, but it will. Once the bridge is done, I spend the last seconds of my day possibly doing the most embarrassing thing ever. For the Scornet Maestro, that is, because even though I have about 30 winged Pikmin, this fight is still a complete joke. To those of you who think I suck, they actually capped the damage back to 1/4 per round on Ultra Spicy mode, whereas you could defeat the Maestro in 2 rounds on normal mode, so just keep that in mind before you roast me in the comments section. Surprising amount of people think I'm stupid for some reason. Anyway, the day ends, so even though I lose quite a few Pikmin in numbers, day 11 we're still fighting the easiest boss, so like, we pretty much just need a single Pikmin. Carrying back, Louie takes more Pikmin than the fight, and the rest of the day is just a free-for-all. I grab the pair, which has mysteriously teleported through the stone wall. I told you it would matter later. After I grab some Ultra Spicy spray, day ends. The next morning serves as a wake-up call, not only literally. Thanks, Louie. But also figuratively. We've got no food now, and of course, only 5 Pikmin, counting the blue onion we just rescued. All of our other Pikmin are basically useless though, so I start building up our blues. Scratch that, I made the executive decision that blue Pikmin are actually useless and start building up our wings instead. But unscratch that because I build up the blues anyway to get this set of teacup pieces. Wait a second, re-scratch that because winged Pikmin cheese every single puzzle in the game. Alright, we're done with the scratching. Also, you see this? You can just go around the electric gate. I don't even think you need to destroy this gate, so just keep that in mind if you're planning on doing what is wrong with me? So just keep that in mind if you're planning on doing any all-fruit speedrun. Anyway, the rest of the day we just do absolutely nothing, and somehow we manage to survive with a single juice. The next day, which is, I don't even know what day it is. I'm looking at the script, and it just says the next morning. What is this, day 13? I don't know. And I also don't care because it's semi-required boss fight mini time. Why why do I have to mess up the script? It's semi-required mini-boss time. The crawl ad is easy. I was gonna say something else, but for the sake of not getting repetitive, I won't. Scratch that, I don't care about the mini-boss either. You see what I did there? Does anyone actually find joy in this horrible script? Okay. I'll just skip ahead to the part where we're building the bridge to the boss fight, as these things often turn out to be. We managed to get the bridge completed, and I'm not even joking, it was like 5 frames from the end of the day. For reference to anyone that is not a nerd, it was a very small amount of a second. Day 14, and if you were wondering, yes, I still suck at this boss fight. I tried fighting him with winged Pikmin, and it didn't go so well. As you can see here, I did not kill all my Pikmin by the end of the day. What happened was I got a Pikmin Extinction, which sprouted a new Pikmin that I didn't realize existed, so he was still planted when the day ends. That means it's day 14, because I'm not a cheater. Or maybe I am. You guys don't know, because you don't see all 7 hours of footage. But I don't cheat. Here's me with 7 Pikmin to show you I don't cheat. Definitive evidence right there. Try 2 on the Meyerclops and it gets so much better. Instead of using winged Pikmin, I get a lot of blues. That is going to be about as eventful as this fight is going to get, so it is still an immense pain. Like, look at this. What is going on here? I don't know. At the end of the day, and I mean quite literally, we just barely managed to take it down. This doesn't actually mean anything because we can't get Louie back in time, but this is good because it gives us a day to prepare for a final area. The Formidable Oak doesn't have food, and we're not looking particularly good in that department right now anyway, so I just take this day as a little bit of a supply run. Once we get Louie back to the Drake, though, it's time for probably the most impressive thing I've ever done. Besides hitting 200 subscribers and immediately hitting 300 subscribers. Or I can even post a video saying that we hit 200 subscribers. By the way, thanks for subscribing, which you definitely did, and are not ignoring my desperate call for attention. No, I'm just joking. But honestly, this is probably the peak of excellence right here. It's time for the Formidable Oak. So you might be thinking, what's so difficult about the Formidable Oak? Is it the food crisis you mentioned earlier? No, it's not the food that we need, it's the pellets. There are no pellets and no enemy corpses we can use in the Formidable Oak, which means it's 5 Pikmin versus the world right now. For all we know, this is impossible. Let's just get started though. The first thing that needs mentioning is this. Olimar takes 5 Pikmin to carry. We only have 5 Pikmin. This means that there's going to be no multitasking and we're going to be incredibly slow. Additionally, because we have 5 Pikmin, taking down enemies of the Oak is basically impossible without some creative thinking. So the Plasma Wraith will follow Olimar, and the Plasma Wraith will kill enemies when it touches them. So what happens if you put the enemies in between Olimar and the Plasma Wraith? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, but easier said than done. The Pikmin, when carrying items, will follow a set path. That path doesn't change if there's enemies in their way or whatever. The difference with Olimar is that if you're close enough to them with Brittany, instead of following that path to get to Brittany, they'll follow Brittany exactly, just like the way a squad of Pikmin moves. Using this, you can navigate around the Bulborb, and the Plasma Wraith will come along and remove him from existence. This takes me a number of attempts, and for reference, of the 7 hours I was doing this run, over 3.5 hours of it was just the Formidable Oak. That's how insane the things we've got to do are. Eventually, I get him to kill the Bulborb, and even though he gets Olimar, I let my Pikmin at this wall while he wastes time and runs away. Ever wonder why we need a lot of juice for this area? It's because of this. Breaking walls and building bridges takes a long amount of time, and with the Plasma Wraith taking just a short amount of time to recover Olimar, we have to spend multiple days doing each of these tasks. So for the next 2 days, I just work on destroying this wall. That means on day 19, we can finally progress. Now, I'd try to explain my strategy, only I have no idea what is going on. On day 21, after getting the first easily accessible pieces, we have to dig this hole. Getting rid of enemies was simple enough, just run around in a circle until the Plasma Wraith gets them all. But this! Now, building a bridge is the most valuable gameplay experience of my life, and it's surprisingly uneventful. I finish the bridge, the Wraith grabs Olimar, and my winged Pikmin makes the rather intelligent decision to pathfind right into the Arachnode's web. This means I have to take Alf, run as fast as I can, all the way back to the onion, pluck the sprout, throw it out of safety, then switch back to Brittany and throw all her Pikmin away, and then end the day in record time. You have no idea how stressful that was. Winged Pikmin, I take back my earlier statement. You suck! Oh yeah, and then Al finally decides to acknowledge what I've been doing for the entire game. Way to pay attention to detail, bud. Exploration Day 22, and this is where it gets complicated. Because I reset so many times, there's not really any basis for time or days, so I'll try to explain what is happening as best I can. So, the first thing I do is drop Olimar into the water. You can't get him out, but the Plasma Wraith can't get him either, except when he just decides he's gonna go for a swim and break all laws of the game possible. Anyway though, with Olimar in the water, we can safely build the bridge that gets us over to the middle island of the cave, or at least get us close enough to throw our Pikmin over. Now, we can't progress normally here because we don't have 10 yellow Pikmin to turn on the lights, but what we can do is change our Pikmin into winged Pikmin. There's a pink candy pop bud right here, and using it, we can get 5 winged Pikmin. Also, it produces 4 more Pikmin because Pikmin Extinction. This means we have 9 Pikmin, and I'll get to that later because it's not important right now. Anyway, there's a glitch in the world record speedrun of this game that I cannot explain, so just watch it. You have to walk up a route and then walk around the perimeter of the area and then drop down, and basically we just cheese the formidable oak. If you're wondering why we needed winged Pikmin, it's because they can fly. No duh. And you need your Pikmin to fly to carry Olimar out of bounds. Anyway though, that means we literally just beat the formidable oak. The final area in a Pikmin game that requires 5 Pikmin to be holding Olimar at all times with 5 Pikmin. This took me 3 days, not including resets, and several hours. I also spent a day in the tropical wilds gathering fruit so that we don't starve, in case you're wondering why that didn't happen. We get a humongous haul, and we get like 3 Gs from it. So, anyway, now it is time to fight the final boss of the game. And here's a little trick I learned from a speedrun. Bomb rocks actually work on this guy. I'm terrible at using them, but nonetheless, they work. And with the candy pop bud trick I mentioned earlier, we can get ourselves 9 Pikmin. It's difficult, it's tedious, it's scary, with only 1 juice left, but after 2 days and probably about 100 recycled Pikmin, we beat the game. I have to say, out of all the runs I've done, and will probably ever do, this was the most difficult. Extinction Challenge on Ultra Spicy Mode. I might have a world record on this game someday, and I'll bet that it was easier to get than beating this. If you think I'm overreacting, try it for yourself. This is my final report. You can see that we went through 676 Pikmin. We're left with 5 because we obviously can't kill them on the last day, but hey, I count this as pretty good. Just before you go, I've been getting some requests for Pikmin 2 runs lately. What do you think I should do? There's a lot of runs already done there, Pacifist, Extinction, Treasureless, etc. So I need some ideas. I also tried to find the original comment that asked me to do this run, but I couldn't find it. So whoever posted it, you know who you are, and thanks for the recommendation. Super fun run. Next week I'm going to try to do another speed run, so stay tuned. But that is all for now. Except it's not, because we need to talk Discord. Basically, I'm starting a Discord server. There's no text channels for you guys to talk, but I wanted a way to ask you guys questions and announce things that don't require an entire video. There's a bunch of stuff on there, so go ahead and jump on and check it out. I'm going to do polls on future videos and things like that. Greg and Evelyn are already in the Discord, and they'll pop in from time to time. Eventually, I imagine I'll allow people to talk in it, but right now, me and the band just don't have the time or power to continuously moderate it. So, this is what we got. But that is actually all for now, so I thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one.